Welcome to our deep dive today. We're going to be exploring the concept of spirit and spirituality in Islam,
Oh, that sounds fascinating.
specifically how it's presented in the Quran,
Yeah, it's a topic that sparks a lot of curiosity.
definitely. And the material you provided really gets to the heart of it.
Absolutely.
So we'll be looking at the Quran's teachings on the soul's journey
Right.
and its connection to the divine.
Yeah, and what's really interesting is that we have some sources that delve into some pretty profound ideas here.
Right, like the mirage
Yes, exactly.
or spiritual ascension,
Okay.
which is often associated with Prophet Muhammad's journey,
Right.
but we'll be looking at it through
Yeah.
a different lens.
Oh, okay.
Focusing on its deeper, spiritual significance for all of us.
I see. Yeah, and you've also included sources that look at marifat,
Yes.
which is this idea of deep recognition of God, and then also the concept of divine light.
Right.
These have fascinating connections to Sufi and Ismaili traditions, so that just adds another layer of depth to our exploration.
Yeah, it's like we're piecing together a puzzle
Uh-huh.
using the Quran as our guide.
I like that analogy.
What's really exciting for our listeners
Yeah.
is that we're not just talking about these abstract theories.
Right.
We're looking at how these concepts can help us understand our own spiritual journeys.
Exact.
And it's about moving beyond the surface level
Mhm.
and really uncovering those aha moments
Yeah,
that connect us to the inner dimensions of faith.
absolutely.
Okay, so let's start with this concept of mirage.
Okay.
Many people might associate it with,
Yeah.
Prophet Muhammad's ascension to heaven.
Right, right.
But the sources you've provided,
Mm-hmm.
they seem to emphasize a different interpretation.
You're right. There is a tendency to focus on the physical aspects of the mirage,
Yeah.
but the material you've shared really highlights the spiritual interpretation. It
Mhm.
focuses on the soul's journey
Yeah.
and the unveiling of spiritual realities.
So it's not about a physical journey
No.
through space, but an internal journey of the soul.
Precisely. And what's fascinating is that the Quran itself hints at this deeper understanding.
Mhm.
Like verse 70, 1-4 talks about angels and spirits ascending to God.
That's interesting.
And there's no mention of physical bodies making that journey.
So it's more about
Yeah.
the essence of our being
Mhm.
ascending, not our physical form.
Yes.
And there are other verses too, right? You highlighted 32.5,
Yes.
which describes the soul descending from
Yeah.
and ascending to heaven.
Exactly. It emphasizes this concept of the soul's continuous journey,
Right.
not just a one-time event.
Right.
And then you have 35.10,
Mm-hmm.
which says that our good words and deeds ascend to God.
Wow.
So it's like our actions
Mhm.
have a spiritual weight that carries them upwards.
It's almost like even the things we say and do
Yeah, right.
are part of this spiritual ascension.
Absolutely.
That's quite powerful. But if it's not a physical journey,
Mm-hmm.
what does this mirage represent
Yeah.
on a deeper level? What's the significance for us?
The sources suggest it's a continuous process of spiritual elevation that's attainable by all of us.
So it's not just a story about the prophet,
Mm-hmm.
but like a blueprint
Right.
for our own spiritual journeys.
Mm.
So we're all capable of experiencing our own mirage.
In a way, yes, it's not about replicating the exact events,
Okay.
but about embarking on our own unique paths of spiritual growth, deepening our connection with the divine.
That's incredibly empowering. It means we all have
Yeah.
this potential for spiritual greatness within us.
Absolutely.
But the Quran also seems to hint that
Mm-hmm.
simply knowing about the mirage isn't enough.
Right.
There's this idea of marifat being crucial
Yes.
to truly understanding it.
Marifat, often translated as recognition or gnosis,
Okay.
goes beyond intellectual knowledge.
Yeah.
It's about experiencing a deep personal connection with the divine.
Mm-hmm.
The sources suggest those with marifat have a special lens
Okay.
through which they can perceive and understand spiritual realities like the mirage.
So it's like
Yeah.
they're seeing with a different kind of sight,
Exactly.
a spiritual insight that allows them to grasp the deeper meaning of these concepts.
Think of it as unveiling a hidden treasure within yourself.
Mm-hmm.
It's about connecting with your soul.
Yeah.
And through that connection,
Okay.
recognizing the presence of God in a profound way.
Now that makes me think of
Yeah.
the straight path in Islam.
Mm-hmm.
Would you say that
Yeah.
marifat is like the ultimate destination on that path?
You could definitely say that.
Yeah.
It's often described as the final stage of the straight path.
Right.
It's the culmination of spiritual growth.
Yeah.
You have the shariat,
Mhm.
the law,
Yeah.
the terapat,
Mm.
the spiritual path,
Mhm.
yak, you caught.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And then finally, marifat,
Okay.
the recognition. So it's a beautiful progression towards deeper understanding and connection.
Each stage building upon the previous one,
Yes.
leading to this profound state of recognition.
Exact.
And the mirage, when seen through this lens of marifat,
Right.
becomes even more powerful.
Yeah.
It's like an example of what we can attain on this spiritual path.
It sets a precedent for the incredible spiritual heights we can reach if we commit to our own journey of self-discovery
Right.
and connection with the divine.
So how does this concept of Allah Sunnat, God's eternal and unchanging law, tie into all of this?
It's like a cosmic principle that governs the spiritual realm.
Right.
This concept suggests that the mirage wasn't just a random occurrence, but an example of an eternally existing reality, a reality that was fully manifested in the prophet's experience.
So it's like saying
Yeah.
these spiritual ascensions have always been part of God's plan.
Right.
They were hidden.
Yes.
But the prophet's mirage brought them to light,
Exactly.
showing us what's possible.
And it goes even deeper.
Okay?
There's this fascinating idea of a multiplicity-like unity, connecting our individual souls back to the universal soul.
So we're all distinct individuals, but on a deeper level, our souls are interconnected,
Yes.
ultimately emanating from a single source.
That's the essence of it.
Okay.
And Allah's Sunnat governs this interplay of unity and multiplicity,
Right.
holding everything together in perfect harmony.
It's a beautiful concept.
Yeah.
This idea of interconnectedness,
Right.
belonging to something much greater than ourselves.
Absolutely.
Now, we've talked about the journey of the soul, this mirage,
Yeah.
and the deep recognition of marifat.
Right.
But there's another element that seems crucial
Okay.
to this exploration, the concept of divine light.
Mm-hmm.
The sources you provided describe it as being much more than just physical illumination.
Right.
It's about guidance, knowledge, wisdom, and most importantly, recognition.
Yes.
This divine light is seen as a source of spiritual awakening and understanding.
You're absolutely right.
And it's this light
Yeah.
that's said to manifest in the perfect man,
Exact.
serving as a guide for others.
It's like a beacon
Yeah.
illuminating the path for those seeking spiritual enlightenment.
And you've also highlighted the threefold nature of this light:
Right.
ethical, spiritual, and intellectual.
Yes.
So it's not just one type of light, but a spectrum of illumination
exactly.
that guides us on different levels.
Ethical light helps us establish good ethics,
Oh,
building a foundation of moral conduct.
right.
Spiritual light connects us to faith and the hereafter,
Okay.
deepening our connection to the unseen realm.
Yeah.
And finally, intellectual light, the highest form,
Okay.
leads us to the pinnacle of spiritual understanding,
Wow.
those states of certainty about spiritual truth.
It's like a ladder.
Yeah, I like that.
Each rung represents a different aspect of light. And as we climb higher,
Right.
we gain a deeper understanding
Yeah.
of ourselves
Right.
and our connection to the divine.
Absolutely.
But if this divine light guides us, how do we actually perceive and understand it?
Yeah.
It seems almost intangible.
That's where the concept of spiritual faculties comes in.
Okay.
Think of them as inner senses,
Uh-huh.
awakened by the light of guidance.
So it's not just about reading about these concepts
No,
and
no, no.
hearing them discussed.
Yeah.
It's about actively engaging with them,
Exactly.
using our spiritual senses
Yes.
to perceive and understand them on a deeper level.
Precisely. It's about moving beyond the intellectual
Yeah.
into the realm of experience.
Right.
And the sources provide clues on how to do this.
Okay.
You know, they emphasize practices like remembrance of God, meditation, and contemplation.
Uh-huh.
These practices can help us refine our spiritual senses, allowing us to perceive those subtle nuances of divine light.
So just like our 5 physical senses allow us to experience the material world,
Right.
these spiritual faculties allow us to experience the spiritual world.
Exactly.
It's like opening up a whole new dimension of perception.
It is.
And the Quran itself is a source of guidance and light.
Yes.
Studying its verses,
Uh-huh.
contemplating their meaning,
Yeah.
and applying their wisdom to our lives
Right.
can help us align ourselves with this divine light.
Absolutely.
It's like we have a compass within us guiding us toward the divine,
Yeah.
but we need to learn how to read it.
Exactly. And that's a lifelong process, a
Right.
continuous journey of learning, growing, and deepening our connection with the divine.
It's a beautiful thought, this idea of constantly evolving.
Yeah.
And becoming more attuned to the divine light within us.
It is.
But we've been talking about this on a personal level.
Right.
How does the concept of the universal soul fit into this? This idea that we're all interconnected, emanating from a single source.
It's a profound concept.
Yeah.
And it has immense implications for how we view ourselves and our place in the world.
Right.
The universal soul, or nafsi wahida, is a reminder that we are not isolated beings, but part of a vast, interconnected web of existence.
So despite our individuality,
Yeah.
we're all drops in the same ocean of divine consciousness.
That's the essence of it.
And that has implications
It does.
for how we interact with others and the world around us. Right?
Absolutely. If we're all drops in the same ocean,
Right.
then harming others is ultimately harming ourselves.
Yeah.
It challenges us to recognize the inherent dignity and worth of every being,
Right.
to act with compassion and understanding.
So our spiritual growth,
Yeah.
our personal journey toward the divine is inherently tied to the well-being of others.
Absolutely.
It's not just about our own enlightenment, but about contributing to a more harmonious and compassionate world.
That's beautifully put.
Yeah.
Our actions have ripple effects that extend far beyond ourselves.
Right.
The more we cultivate marifat, the more we radiate that divine light outward.
Yeah.
Uplifting not just ourselves, but the entire human family.
So it's a collective effort.
It is.
A journey we're all undertaking together.
Precisely. And that brings us back to the concept of the mirage. It's not just a historical event or a personal aspiration.
Right.
It's a blueprint for our collective evolution.
Okay.
A journey towards greater unity, understanding, and love.
That's a powerful thought to reflect on.
Indeed.
Yeah, it reminds us that our individual journeys are intertwined and our collective efforts have the power to transform the world.
Absolutely.
It really feels like we're just beginning to grasp the depth and complexity of these concepts.
Yeah, but I think for our listener, it's important to connect these ideas back to their own lives.
Right. What does it all mean for them?
Yeah.
Why should they care about these seemingly complex notions of mirage, marifat, and divine light?
It's about recognizing the incredible potential within each of us.
Okay.
You know, the mirage, understood as a spiritual journey, suggests that we are all capable of profound spiritual transformation.
Right.
It's a journey of self-discovery, of deepening our connection with the divine, and of realizing our true potential.
So it's not just a story about the prophet. It's an invitation for each of us to embark on our own spiritual ascent.
Yes.
It's about recognizing that we all have this capacity for spiritual greatness within us.
Absolutely. And marifat, that deep recognition of God, isn't reserved for a select few mystics or saints.
Right.
It's an achievable state for anyone willing to embark on that journey of self-exploration and spiritual growth.
So unveiling those hidden treasures within ourselves.
Yes.
Connecting with our souls. And through that connection, experiencing a profound recognition of the divine.
Exactly.
Okay, so that's the goal, the destination.
Yeah.
But how do we actually get there?
Right.
How do we embark on our own personal mirage and cultivate this marifat?
Yeah, what are the practical steps?
What are the practical steps?
The sources you've provided offer some really valuable guidance on this.
Okay.
They talk about the importance of practices like remembrance of God, meditation, and contemplation.
Okay.
These practices create space for stillness and reflection,
Right.
allowing us to tune in to our inner world
Yeah.
and connect with that divine light within.
So it's about going beyond the intellectual understanding of these concepts.
Yes.
And actually experiencing them directly, engaging with them on a deeper, more intuitive level.
Precisely. And remember, that divine light isn't some passive force out there.
Okay.
It's an active guide, always present, always illuminating the path.
Yeah.
But we need to learn how to access it,
Right.
how to attune ourselves to its frequency.
Okay.
And that's where these practices come in.
It's like we have this built-in
Yeah.
GPS system for the soul, but we need to learn how to use it.
We do.
And the Quran itself seems to be a crucial part of this process.
Absolutely. The Quran is a source of immense wisdom and guidance.
Right.
Studying its verses, contemplating their deeper meaning,
Good.
applying those insights to our lives,
Yeah.
helps us align ourselves with that divine light.
Right.
It's like receiving transmissions from a higher source, a source that knows the way.
So it's not just about reading the words on the page.
It's about allowing those words to penetrate our hearts and minds,
Yeah.
to guide our actions and transform our being.
And transform our being.
Exactly. And remember, it's not a race.
Okay.
There's no need to compare ourselves to others
Yeah.
or feel pressured to reach a certain destination.
Mm-hmm.
The journey itself is just as important as the destination.
Right.
Enjoy the process. Yeah. Embrace the challenges.
Okay.
And trust that the divine light is there to guide you every step of the way.
That's such a reassuring thought.
It is.
It takes the pressure off
Yeah,
and allows us to approach this journey with a sense of curiosity and wonder
absolutely.
rather than fear or anxiety.
Right.
What stands out to you the most about this concept of a personal mirage?
It's the emphasis on individual potential that really resonates with me.
Mm-hmm.
These concepts aren't just abstract theological ideas.
Okay.
They're practical tools for spiritual growth and self-discovery.
Right.
They're an invitation to step into our true selves.
Yeah.
To realize that divine spark that resides within each of us.
And what I find fascinating is how these ideas are woven throughout the Quran,
They are.
offering a framework for understanding our place in the cosmos
Right.
and our relationship with the divine.
And what's particularly intriguing is that this journey of spiritual ascension
Mm-hmm.
isn't just about personal gain.
Okay.
It's about becoming better human beings, more compassionate, more understanding,
Yeah.
more connected to the world around us.
That makes me think of the universal soul again.
Yeah.
If we're all emanating from this single source,
Mm-hmm.
then our spiritual growth is inherently tied to the well-being of others.
It is.
It's not just about our own enlightenment,
right.
but about contributing to a more harmonious and compassionate world.
It's like ripples in a pond.
Yeah.
Our individual actions and choices create a ripple effect
Okay.
that impacts the entire web of existence.
So the more we cultivate Marifat,
Yes.
the more we radiate that divine light outward,
Exactly.
and the more we contribute to a world that reflects those qualities
right.
of compassion, understanding, and love.
It's a beautiful way to think about it.
It shifts the focus from individual gain to collective good,
Yeah.
reminding us that our spiritual journeys are interconnected
Mm-hmm.
and our actions have the potential to uplift not just ourselves,
Right.
but the entire human family.
Precisely. It reminds us that our personal mirage is just one thread.
In a vast and intricate tapestry.
Yeah.
And when we weave our individual journeys together,
Right.
we create something truly magnificent.
Okay, we've talked about divine light as a guide,
Right.
but the sources also mention something about a perfect man
Yeah,
as a manifestation of this light. Can you explain that a bit more?
it really is.
Yeah, it seems like a key concept
It is.
to understanding how this light operates in the world.
The perfect man in this context
Okay.
isn't about physical perfection,
Mm-hmm.
but about spiritual enlightenment.
Right.
It's someone who has fully realized their spiritual potential,
Okay.
embodying and radiating the qualities of divine light.
Right.
They serve as a living example of what's possible on this path,
Yeah.
inspiring and guiding others towards their own potential for Marifat.
So they're like a beacon
Yes.
showing us what it looks like
Yeah.
to fully embody those qualities of love, compassion, and wisdom.
Exactly. The sources even use the analogy of the perfect man as a luminous lamp, dispelling the darkness of ignorance
Right.
and guiding others towards the light.
It's a powerful image, that idea of a luminous being radiating divine light
It is.
and illuminating the path for others.
Yes.
But it raises a question.
Yeah.
If this perfect man embodies divine light,
Mm-hmm.
how can we as individuals
Right.
tap into that light?
Yeah.
Is it something we can access directly?
That's a great question.
Yeah.
And it brings us back to the threefold nature of light.
Okay.
Ethical, spiritual, and intellectual. Remember how we talked about each aspect building upon the other,
Yeah.
leading us toward greater spiritual understanding and connection with the divine?
Right. Ethical light establishes a strong foundation of good character.
Yes.
Spiritual light connects us to faith and the unseen realm.
Uh-huh.
And intellectual light leads to those profound states of certainty and understanding.
Exactly.
There are-
And the perfect man embodies all three aspects of this light.
Serving as a guide and inspiration for those navigating this path,
Mm-hmm.
they show us what it looks like to live in alignment with divine principles,
Yeah.
to radiate those qualities outward,
Okay.
and to inspire others to do the same.
Okay, so if the perfect man is like a lighthouse,
Yeah.
how do we as ships Sailing in the darkness, find our way to that light.
Right.
How do we connect with that source of guidance?
That's where those spiritual faculties come back into play.
Right.
Remember, we talked about them as our internal senses awakened by the light of guidance. They were like our spiritual compass,
Okay.
guiding us toward the light of the perfect man,
Right.
and ultimately toward the divine itself.
So just like our physical senses allow us to perceive the material world, these spiritual faculties allow us to perceive the spiritual world,
Exactly.
to connect with those higher realms of existence.
It's about awakening those inner senses and learning to trust their guidance.
Yeah.
It's about cultivating a sensitivity to the subtle whispers of the soul, the intuitive nudges that guide us toward truth and enlightenment.
But how do we actually do that?
Right.
What are some concrete steps we can take to awaken these spiritual faculties and attune ourselves to the divine light?
The sources highlight practices like meditation, contemplation, and remembrance of God as ways to refine our spiritual senses.
Right.
It's about creating space for stillness and reflection, allowing the divine light to penetrate our being.
Okay.
It's about turning inward and listening to the wisdom that resides within.
And I remember that hadith we talked about earlier, where God says he becomes the ears, eyes, hands, and feet of those he loves. It's such a powerful reminder that once we awaken these spiritual faculties and align ourselves with this divine light, we become instruments of God's will.
It's a beautiful concept.
Guided and supported every step of the way.
It reminds us that we're not alone on this journey.
Right.
We have access to a source of guidance and support that is infinitely wise and compassionate.
So it's not just about passively receiving this light.
It's about actively engaging with it.
Right.
Allowing it to flow through us and guide our actions, our words, and our thoughts.
Okay, we've talked about how this divine light guides us individually and through the perfect man. But we've also discussed this idea of a universal soul.
Right.
This interconnectedness of all beings. How does that tie into all of this?
It's a profound reminder that the divine light isn't just something out there, separate from us. It's the very essence of our being, the source from which we all emanate. The universal soul, or nafsi wahida, is like the ocean. And we are the drops.
Right.
We are all connected, all part of the same divine essence.
So it's not just about our individual connection to the divine light, but about recognizing that this light flows through all beings, connecting us all in a web of love and compassion.
Exactly. And that realization has profound implications for how we view ourselves, our relationships, and our place in the world.
It challenges us to see the divine spark in everyone we encounter. To treat all beings with respect and kindness. Knowing that we are all part of this same sacred tapestry.
And it also reminds us that our spiritual growth is not just a personal endeavor, but a collective one. The more we cultivate Marifat, the more we contribute to the overall spiritual evolution of humanity. We are all in this together, supporting each other on this journey of awakening.
I love that.
It's a beautiful concept.
It shifts the focus from individual gain to collective good, reminding us that our actions have ripple effects that extend far beyond our own lives.
Absolutely.
It's like we're all holding hands, lifting each other up towards the light.
What a beautiful image.
Okay, we've covered a lot of ground here.
We have.
Exploring the concept of mirage, marifat, divine light, the perfect man, and the universal soul. It's been quite a journey.
We've woven together a tapestry of interconnected ideas, each one illuminating a different aspect of this spiritual path.
But I think for our listener, it's important to bring it back to their own lives. How can they take all of this and apply it to their own experiences, their own spiritual journeys? What are the key takeaways here?
That's a great question. And it leads us into the final part of our deep dive. We'll explore the practical implications of these concepts, offering guidance on how to integrate them into everyday life. And embark on that personal journey of spiritual ascension.
Okay, so we've explored these profound concepts. You know, the mirage is like a blueprint for spiritual growth. Marifat as this recognition of the divine. And the threefold nature of divine light guiding us. It's a lot to take in.
It is.
What are some of the key takeaways for you?
Okay.
And how can our listener apply these insights to their own lives?
I think the biggest takeaway for me is that this journey of spiritual ascension is not a passive activity.
Oh.
It's about actively engaging with these concepts,
Mm-hmm.
cultivating those spiritual faculties we discussed,
Right.
using them to connect with the divine light
Yeah.
within and all around us.
Okay.
It's about becoming more conscious, more compassionate,
Right.
and more deeply connected to the world.
That resonates with me too.
Yeah.
It's not about escaping the world,
Right.
but about transforming it.
Yeah.
And that starts with our own inner transformation.
Absolutely.
But how can we actually do that?
Yeah.
The sources we've explored offer so much guidance,
I do.
but it can feel overwhelming.
Yeah.
What's a good starting point for our listener?
I think a great place to start is with cultivating awareness. Begin by paying attention to your inner world, your thoughts, your emotions, those moments where you feel a sense of connection to something larger than yourself.
Okay.
Notice when you experience a sense of peace, joy, or love.
Yeah.
That seems to transcend the ordinary.
Right.
Those are glimpses of the divine light within you.
Okay.
Nurture those moments and they will grow.
It's like we're training a muscle.
Yeah.
The more we exercise our spiritual faculties,
Right.
the stronger and more attuned they become.
Absolutely.
But are there specific practices that can help with this?
Absolutely. The sources emphasize practices like meditation, contemplation, and remembrance of God as ways to refine our spiritual senses and awaken those faculties.
Okay.
It's about creating space for stillness, allowing that divine light to penetrate our being and illuminate our path.
So it's not about adding more to our already busy lives.
It's about creating space, slowing down and turning inward to connect with that inner source of wisdom and guidance.
And remember, we don't have to do this alone.
Don't.
We can draw inspiration from the examples of those who have walked this path before us, like the perfect man we discussed.
Right.
They serve as beacons.
They do.
Showing us what's possible when we align ourselves with the divine light.
Absolutely.
And we also have the guidance of the Quran itself, a source of immense wisdom and inspiration.
It is.
Studying its verses, contemplating their meaning, and applying their insights to our lives can help us connect with that divine frequency, that source of truth and guidance.
It's like having a map to navigate this spiritual terrain.
Okay.
It reminds us that we are not lost.
Right.
That there is a path. And that we have the tools and resources we need to find our way.
So much of what we've discussed points to the idea that our spiritual journeys are not just about personal enlightenment, but about contributing to a larger good, about recognizing our interconnectedness and working towards a more compassionate and harmonious world.
You're absolutely right.
Yeah.
The concept of the universal soul reminds us
Okay.
that we are all drops in the same ocean, all interconnected, all part of this divine tapestry.
Yeah.
Our actions have ripple effects.
Okay.
And our individual growth contributes to the collective evolution of humanity.
So if our listener could take away just one thing from this deep dive, what would you want it to be?
I would say it's this. Remember that you are not alone.
Okay.
You have within you the divine spark, the potential for greatness, and the capacity to connect with a source of love, wisdom, and guidance that is always present, always available.
Okay.
Nurture that connection, cultivate your spiritual faculties, and trust in the journey.
That's a beautiful message to leave our listener with.
Thank you.
We've explored some complex and profound concepts.
We have.
But ultimately, it comes down to this cultivating awareness, connecting with the divine light within.
Yes.
And letting it guide us towards greater understanding, compassion, and connection.
Absolutely.
And remember, the mirage, that journey of spiritual ascension, is not just a historical event.
It's a blueprint for our own lives. Yeah. We all have the potential for spiritual greatness.
Right.
We just need to tap into it.
Thank you for joining us on this incredible deep dive into spirit and spirituality in Islam.
It was my pleasure.
We hope you found it insightful and inspiring.
Yes.
Until next time.
Yeah.
May you be guided by the light within.